हरि ओम। ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री हिरण्यगर्भाय नमः। ओम श्री महाविष्णवे नमः। ओम श्री महादेवाय नमः। ओम श्री महादुर्गाये नमः। ओम श्री राम रामाय नमः। ओम श्री सद्गुरवे नमः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ओम गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धाविश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तस्तमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। रामाय रामभद्राय रामचन्द्राय वेदसे रघुनाथाय नाथाय सीतायाः पतये नमः। बुद्धेर्बलं यशोधैर्यं निर्भयत्वमरोगताम् अजाड्यं वाक्पटुत्वं च हनुमत्स्मरणात् भवेत्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय 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 ओम नमः शिवाय। नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम, हरि ओम। We have completed the study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. From today, for 7 days, we will revise what we have studied. All of us are born in this world. We experience ourself, and we experience this wonderful world, and we just start living in this world, trying to fulfill our desires. All of us are motivated by our desires, and we constantly struggle to fulfill our desires. But even after living the whole life, all our desires do not get fulfilled, and we also experience a lot of sorrow and pain during our life. We don't know where we were in our previous birth. We don't know whether we had a previous birth. We don't know what will happen after our death. So everything is a great mystery. Life is a mystery, death is a mystery. So in order to resolve all these mysteries, also to make us realize what is the cause of our suffering and what is the solution, we have our scriptures, the Shastras, the most beautiful and ancient, Anadi Ananta Paurusheya, are the Vedas. The Vedas guide us how to live in this world and become free of all our suffering and to attain our ultimate goal of being totally free of all suffering and gaining eternal bliss. Based on the Vedas are the various Puranas which convey the cosmic history of this world, and again based on the Vedas are so many Dharma Granthas which gives us the do's and don'ts while living in this world, teach us Dharma. Also we have the wonderful Itihas like Mahabharata and Ramayana, which talks about the ancient history. So all these Shastras, they guide us to lead a very fruitful life. But they are so vast, one can, even if one spends each and every second of one's life, it will not be enough to study all the Shastras. They are very, very vast. The essence of all these Shastras, the essence of the Vedas, the essence of the Puranas and Dharma Granthas and the Itihas is revealed in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So if we study Bhagavad Gita, we will get the essence of the teaching of all the Shastras. Bhagavad Gita is taught by Bhagwan Sri Krishna to Arjuna 5,000 years ago. The main teaching of the Vedas as well as Bhagavad Gita is the twofold path, the path of pravritti and the path of nivritti, it is called, the path of action and path of nididhyasan. So through path of action we purify our mind while living in this world, and through the path of nididhyasan we gain abidance in our own self and become free of all our bondage. So this twofold path is revealed in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The text is not very easy to comprehend. So in order to understand this Bhagavad Gita, we have the support of the great Mahatmas who have written commentaries on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And among all of them, the most important and the most authentic and beautiful commentary is of Bhagwan Sri Adi Shankaracharya. Bhagwan Adi Shankaracharya ji has written commentary not only on Bhagavad Gita, but he has also written commentary on the Upanishads, 10 Upanishads, and on Brahma Sutra. So the Upanishads, Brahma Sutra, and Bhagavad Gita, these three texts are called Prasthan Trayi, the three texts which guide us to become free of this samsara, to attain that Jivan Mukti. The beauty of Bhagwan Shankaracharya's Bhashya is that it is very, very deep and very, pleasant. And there are also, it is most authentic because there are no contradictions in Bhagwan Shankaracharya's Bhashya. He is considered Bhagwan's avatar only. He has the knowledge of the entire Vedas, all the Puranas, all the Dharma Granthas, the Itihas. Therefore we say the Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram. So he is the knower of all the Shastras. And Bhagwan, in his commentary, he quotes all these Shastras also. So we have taken complete help of Adi Shankaracharya's Bhashya and to understand Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Gita begins with Dhritarashtra's words. There are these 18 chapters and 700 shlokas, and it was given by Bhagwan Shri Krishna to Arjuna in the middle of the battlefield. So this war was about to begin between Pandavas and the Kauravas. The Kauravas has taken away the kingdom of the Pandavas through deceit, and they were not returning it back to them. So they were doing this adharma. And in order to establish dharma and to destroy this adharma, the Kshatriyas, they have to take up arms. That is their duty. So as a duty, Arjuna as a Kshatriya had taken up that arms to fight against all these adharmic Kauravas and to establish dharma and to regain that kingdom and to rule the kingdom according to dharma. So he had come with all intention to fight this war, and when he arrived at the battlefield, uh, both the armies were standing in front of, facing each other, ready to begin the war. So Arjuna requested Bhagwan Sri Krishna, who had become his charioteer, to take his chariot in between the two armies. So Bhagwan took the chariot in between the two armies. He placed the chariot right in front of Bhishma Pitamaha and Dronacharya. So seeing the both sides of the army, Arjuna saw his own relatives, his friends, his teachers, his grandfathers, people of his father's age, all near and dear ones, he saw on both sides of the army, and Arjuna got thoroughly confused and became very sad, and he did not know what to do, because these people were his own people. And one thing is that according to the Kshatriya Dharma, he knew that he has to fight this war, and in this war many will be killed. But then his emotion also took over, that they are my people. So he got thoroughly confused. And in this confusion, he, since he did not know what to do, he just dropped his bow and arrow, and he told Bhagwan Sri Krishna that I don't want to fight this war. The first chapter of Gita is actually to make us understand our problem of suffering, sorrow, grief, pain, confusion, fear. This is the problem not only with Arjuna, but with all of us. When we come into this world, is it not clear? Some of you can't see the video properly. Okay. So this problem is not only with Arjuna, but with all of us. When we come into this world, we have this lot of suffering, and we can't we don't know what is the solution. So our Shastras, the first thing the Shastra analyzes, diagnoses our problem and conveys to us that the main cause of all our suffering is what is called avidya, ignorance of our self. What is this avidya? Okay. So the basic problem of all our sorrow and suffering is what is called avidya. We don't know ourselves as we are. We are born with this ignorance. We are not really aware of our own self. We are aware of this world. We are aware of our own existence. But what exactly I am is not known. I experience myself in one way when I am awake. I experience myself totally differently when I am dreaming. And my experience of myself is totally mysterious when I am in deep sleep, dreamless sleep. Also, during my lifetime, my experience of myself keeps on changing. When I am born, when I grow up, I experience myself as a young person, because as the body changes, I consider myself also changing. So my understanding of my own self is based on my body. I consider this gross body as myself, and I consider the subtle body as myself. And the activities of the gross body and the subtle body, I take them as my own activity. The gross body acts in this world, means all actions happen at the level of the gross physical body. And therefore I consider myself to be the doer of action. All the experiences of joy, sorrow, pain, suffering, fear happens in the mind. I consider myself as the mind. Therefore I think all this belongs to me. I am happy, I am unhappy, I am afraid, etc. Also, the knowledge happens through the senses, through my buddhi. So, and this is because of the activities of the buddhi and the indriyas. So, I consider myself as the knower. So, I know I exist, but I think I am the doer, I am the enjoyer of all the experiences, and I am the knower. But this is not the fact. The fact is that I am neither the doer, nor knower, nor enjoyer. And I am not even confined to this body. The Shastras, they say that I am all pervading. I am pure existence, pure knowledge, pure bliss, infinite. That is called Brahma. So I am that infinite Brahma, ever existing, pure knowledge, pure bliss. But I don't know myself as Brahma. That is called avidya. This avidya is anadi, beginningless. It is with that avidya only I am born. And this avidya is of the nature of absence. It is abhava rupa. There is an absence of self-knowledge in the buddhi. Therefore, this avidya is of the nature of abhava, absence. It is like darkness. Darkness is absence of light. In the same way, this avidya is absence of self-knowledge. Just as the darkness gets dispelled when the light is brought, similarly, this avidya gets destroyed when we gain self-knowledge. So avidya is the cause of our suffering, avidya is the cause of our this samsara. And the solution is to remove this avidya through self-knowledge. Now see, this avidya causes sorrow, pain. Avidya has not created this world. Avidya is not the creator of this world. Avidya has not created our body, our mind, our senses. The world is always there. The world always existed. World is existing now, and the world will always be there in future. World is expression of Bhagwan's Shakti, Bhagwan's Prakriti, called Maya. So this Maya is different from Avidya. Avidya is our ignorance of our own self. It is different from Maya. I am saying this because many people they talk about avidya and Maya being same. Many times they say that avidya is ignorance and Maya is total ignorance. Avidya is the ignorance of the jiva and Maya is the ignorance, total ignorance of Ishvara. But all this is wrong understanding, is misunderstanding. Avidya belongs to me. It is an absence of my own knowledge. So I don't know myself. And this not knowing myself has caused all suffering, all sorrow, fear, and everything. To convey this is this first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Because diagnosis of our problem is the most important thing. When we go to a doctor, the first thing the doctor does is diagnose what exactly is our problem, what is the disease. And once the diagnosis is done properly, then the solution can be given. So what is the diagnosis of all our problem, not only as an individual, but the entire humanity? That is lack of self-knowledge. We don't know that we are that supreme Brahma. We don't know that we are that infinite, that Atma. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. So this understanding we should have, we should understand the cause of our problem is avidya after studying the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Though the circumstances which gave sorrow to Arjuna were different, and the circumstances which give sorrow to us are different, but the avidya is same. The avidya is same in all, but the effect of this avidya in the form of confusion, delusion, misunderstanding, which gives rise to different types of sorrow, pain, fear, are different in different beings. So, what is the solution? The solution is self-knowledge. So, from the second chapter onwards till the end of this Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan reveals this solution to us. In the second chapter, in the beginning itself, Arjuna, he surrenders to Bhagwan Sri Krishna. In the seventh shloka of second chapter, Arjuna, he reveals कि कार्पण्य दोषोपहत स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्म सम्मूढ़ चेताः यश्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेहं शादिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम्. He says that I am thoroughly confused. A weakness have come in my antakarana. I am totally confused regarding what exactly is dharma, what is the right thing to do, what is good for me, what is the shreya. Please guide me. Please take me as your shishya. Shishyasteham shadimam tvam prapannam. I am surrendering to you, He Krishna. Please guide me, please teach me. So when Arjuna surrenders to Bhagwan Sri Krishna, Bhagwan starts teaching Arjuna. So this second chapter gives the solution. The first chapter reveals the problem, and the main problem of our suffering is avidya. And the second chapter gives the solution, that you gain self-knowledge and become Jivan Mukta. Gain self-knowledge and become Astita Prajna. Astita Prajna means Jivan Mukta. Become free while living in this world. Live as a Jivan Mukta in this world. So Bhagwan commences his teaching. In the beginning itself, he tells Arjuna that you don't have to grieve. You are grieving for them for whom you need not grieve. Ashochananva shochastvam prajnavadanscha bhashase gataso na gatasonscha nanu shochanti panditaha. You are grieving for them whom you should not grieve, because you are grieving because you think everyone will die and you are the cause. You will be the cause for their death. Bhagwan says no. The Supreme Self doesn't die. Atma doesn't die. And Atma is not the cause of anybody's death also, because there is no action happening in Atma, and there is no action which can happen on Atma. So a wise person doesn't grieve. So hey Arjuna, become a wise person and understand this Atma. Bhagwan reveals that there was never a time when this Atma was not there, and there will never be a time in future when the Self will not be there. The Self of all was there in the past, is there now, and will be there in future also. What we see as this body, what we see as our mind, that constantly changes. That also, actually, that itself is, that change itself is called death. But the material is never destroyed. The matter which goes to make our body always remains. And the matter which goes to make our mind also always exists. the matter which goes to make our gross body and subtle body is never destroyed, because that matter is Prakriti, and that Prakriti is Bhagwan's Prakriti. That Prakriti always exists, because Bhagwan always exists. So the body constantly changes, the mind constantly changes. It keeps on going from one condition to another condition. From childhood we grow, become young, grow old, then the body gets dropped off. But the one who is occupying this body, the Atma, it never undergoes any change. That Atma never changes. That Atma never dies. Bhagwan tells Arjuna कि न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतो यं पुराणः न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. That the Atma, that is you. Here Arjuna, you, who is expressing through this gross body and the subtle body, you really don't die. And you are never born. What is born is this body, what is born is the mind. But you are never born and you never die. So na jayate mriyate va kadachit nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha ajaha. You are unborn, eternal, always present. And na hanyate hanyamane sharire. Even when the body gets destroyed, you will not get destroyed. So recognize yourself as you are. See, this Atma is not to be recognized somewhere else. Atma is not something which we have to try to see up in the heaven or in some other place, but we have to recognize that self within this body. Therefore, that Atma is also called Dehi. Atma is also called Dehi because it has to be recognized in this Deha itself. See, when we are awake, we experience our own presence in the body. We only experience our presence in the body, but the body is not I. We experience our own presence in our gross body, but that doesn't mean I am the body. We experience our presence in our mind, but that doesn't mean I am the mind. But at present, we are experiencing our presence in the body and in the mind. Just as when we wear a dress, we experience our presence in the dress. When we see some person at a far distance, we only see the dress which the person is wearing, and we recognize the dress and we say, oh, that is the person who is standing there. There is a policeman there, there is an army officer. So we see the dress and recognize that person. But that person is different from the dress. Similarly, our body, our mind is only like a dress, which we keep changing when we take different bodies. Vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grannhati naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani sanyati navani dehi. Just as we change our dress, we change our body. This gross physical body we change, When we die, we drop one body, and when we are born, we take up another body. But the one who is taking and dropping the body, that Atma, it never dies. I never die. I only change dress. No instrument, no equipment, no weapon can destroy that Atma. Nainam chindanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, na chainam kledayantyapaha, na shoshayati marutaha. Even the five great elements that has got so much of power cannot destroy this Atma. It cannot be burnt, cannot be dried, cannot be cut. So one has to recognize this Atma. We have to dive within our own body, we have to dive within our own antakarana and recognize that innermost Atma. Which is experienced by itself when we are in deep sleep. In deep sleep, we experience ourselves devoid of our dress of gross and subtle body. In our waking and dream, we experience ourselves along with our dress, along with our makeup. We have to recognize ourselves without our makeup, without our dress, as we are, that innermost self, which is also called Kshetrajna, that has to be recognized, which is also called Purusha, which is also called Jiva, Jivatma. That has to be recognized. So Bhagavan first teaches Arjuna that you pay attention to that. You focus your attention and understand the nature of that Atma. And also understand the nature of this body. The body is definitely going to die. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad apariharyerte natvam shochitum arhasi. Therefore, you should not grieve for that which is inevitable. All these people who are standing in front of you, Bhishma Pitamaha, Drona Acharya, and so many other warriors, they will eventually die. Whether you fight this war or don't fight this war, the body will keep on getting decayed and ultimately it will die. Nobody can prevent this. So that which is inevitable, you should not grieve. You should recognize your own inner self which never dies, which is eternal, which you are experiencing in this body, which you are experiencing in this mind. But that nature of that self has to be understood. It is very mysterious. It is full of wonder. Just as I had given example, like this pot is like the gross body, and we have the subtle body with 19 parts, the 5 karmendriyas, the 5 jnanendriyas, the 5 pranas, mana, buddhi, chitta, ahankar. But that Atma is like the space within. Atma is like the space within, which is at present experienced along with the pot and the subtle body. So Bhagavan is giving the knowledge of that Atma. He says, remember, this Atma is neither born nor does it die. The pot may break. And when the pot breaks, the Sukshma Sharir leaves one pot and enters another pot. But that Atma doesn't go anywhere. Atma never dies. So you have to recognize that Atma. And in order to recognize that Atma, you have to gain that knowledge of that Atma with the help of your buddhi. With the help of your buddhi, you have to first gain the knowledge of that Atma. And in order to make the buddhi fit to gain that knowledge, you have to perform perform actions. And you have to perform those actions which are your dharma. So swadharmam api chaveksha na vikampitum arhasi dharmyadhi yuddhashreyonyata kshatriyasya na vidyate. So you are a kshatriya and your dharma is to follow all the dharma of a kshatriya. So this is the yuddha, which is a dharmic yuddha, and as a kshatriya you have to fight this war. So each one according to their dharma should perform their duties, remaining totally balanced. This is the path towards gaining the knowledge of self and gaining that Jivan Mukti. The path is the path of karma. Bhagavan says even a little bit of following this path of karma yoga, your mind will start becoming pure and you will become free of lot of your suffering. So Bhagavan says that follow this path of karma yoga and go beyond all this suffering by gaining that abidance in yourself. So Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha Nishtraigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdvandvo Nitya Sattvastaha Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. Become Atmavan. Therefore the first step towards gaining that liberation, becoming Jivan Mukti, Jivan Mukta, is to follow the path of karma. Therefore Bhagavan tells Arjuna कि कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मां फलेषु कदाचन मां कर्म फल हेतुर्भूः मां ते संगोस्त्व कर्मणि. That your adhikar is in performing karma only. You start by following sincerely the path of karma. The ultimate goal is to gain that Jivan Mukti. But that Jivan Mukti is possible when you gain proper understanding of yourself with the help of your buddhi. And the buddhi can understand the self when it becomes free of all impurities like raga, dvesha. And that impurities can be eliminated through following the path of karma yoga. And what is karma yoga? Yogastak kuru karmatvam, yogastak kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Fulfill all your duties, remaining firm in your duties, free from all attachment, dedicating them to Ishvara, remaining all the time balanced. You do your duties, and as you fulfill your duties, what will happen? Your mind will start becoming more and more pure. All the confusion of your mind will go away, and you will, through my blessings, through the blessings of the teacher, you will gain that understanding of your own self. So yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. Your buddhi will become free of all its attachment. You will gain proper vairagya, and you will gain proper understanding of your own self. Shruti vipratipannate yada thasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhihi tada yogam avapsyasi. Your understanding of your own self will become absolutely clear. As I had given the example of seeing our face in the mirror. So when we gain self-knowledge, when we understand the nature of the self with the help of our buddhi, when we gain that objective understanding of our own self, it is like seeing our face in a clear mirror. Huh? When a mirror is dusty, we can't see the face. But when the mirror is clean, we can see the face. So seeing our face in the mirror is like gaining that self-knowledge in the buddhi. So once we gain that self-knowledge, then what we have to do? We have to shift our attention from the image to our actual self. We have to gain that paradigm shift. From the image, you gain abidance in your true self. You achieve that jump. So through Karma Yoga, purify your mind. Approaching a teacher, gain that self-knowledge. And then achieve this what you call paradigm shift, and gain abidance in your own self. Tada yogam avapsyasi, that Bhagwan calls it here as a yoga, abidance in one's own self, as that becoming a sthita prajna. So having heard this, Arjuna asked this question, that what are the lakshanas of a sthita prajna? What are the characteristics of an enlightened person? Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshava sthitadhi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. Bhagwan said a sthita prajna is one who is well established in his own self. Hence, he becomes free of all his desires, because once you know yourself, which is of the nature of bliss, you will not have desire for happiness in the world. Once you know that yourself is eternal, you will not have desire to defend yourself, because you are deathless. Once you know that you are all pervading, you are infinite, you will not have desire to go here and there, because you are present everywhere. All the desires of the antakarana will get dispelled. Prajahat yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmannevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnastadochyate. And you will live in this world as a jivan mukta, not disturbed by any unpleasant situation, and not getting attached to pleasant situation. Dukkheshu anudvignamanaha sukeshu vigataspruhaha Vitaraga bhayakrodaha stitadhir muniruchyate. Having total control over your senses, having control over your mind, you will live in this world like a free person. You are free. So one has to strive to gain this abidance in one's own self. We have to meditate, first know and then meditate on ourselves. When we meditate on ourselves, we become free. But when we meditate on the pleasures of this world, then we get destroyed. Dhyayato vishayans pumsaha sangasteshu pajayate sangas sanjayate kamaha कामात् क्रोधो विजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृति विभ्रमः स्मृति भ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशः बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति. When we think, contemplate on the pleasures of this world, our mind gets more and more attached, we get more and more confused, we get angry, we lose all our memory, we lose the ability of our buddhi to understand, and we get destroyed. So don't think of the pleasures of this world. Shift your attention to your real self and gain abidance in yourself. Bhagwan says, one who has gained this abidance, gains that supreme happiness, become free of all the sorrow. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopa prasanna chetaso yashu buddhi paryavatishthati. So when the chitta becomes pure, we become happy and we gain that abidance in our own self, become totally free of all sorrow. Therefore Bhagavan, he says, one should strive to gain this abidance in our own self. So one who has gained this abidance, how does he live in this world? Vihaya kaman yas sarvan pumans charati nispraha nirmamo nirahankaraha sashantim adhigacchati. He lives in this world freely, wandering in this world in a state of bliss, attaining that supreme peace, free of ahankar and mamatva. And even at the last minute, even at the time of death, if one attains this self-knowledge, one becomes eternally free. Esha brahmi sthiti partha nainam prapya vimuhyati stitva syam antakalepi brahma nirvanam richyati. So even at the last minute, if we gain abidance in our own self, we will become free. So in these first two verses of Bhagavad Gita, in the first two chapters of Bhagavad Gita, in the first chapter, the Shastra gives the diagnosis that the main cause of our suffering is ignorance of ourself, avidya. And the solution is to gain self-knowledge and to gain abidance in this self-knowledge and become Jivan Mukta and become eternally free and become eternally blissful. Okay? So, what is said in this second chapter itself, Bhagavan discusses and reveals in the following chapters. So that we will see briefly in our class tomorrow. So what Bhagavan conveys in chapter 3, 4 and 5, we will see in our class tomorrow. So till then you take care, be happy, safe, peaceful, healthy, do your work, do your sadhana, and go through this summary, because within this short time to summarize also is not very easy. So go through it, and we shall meet again tomorrow. Hari Om. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, 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 Jaya Jaya Ram, Jaya Jaya Ram. Bole Siyava Ramachandra Bhagwan ki Jai. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.